Ignacio Zuloaga was a prominent Spanish painter, renowned for his evocative and dramatic depictions of Spanish life, culture, and identity. In this presentation, we will look into the artistry of Ignacio Zuloaga. Rooted in the traditions of Spanish masters like Velasquez and Goya, Zuloaga's work combined realism with a dark, symbolic intensity that captured the essence of Spain's people and landscapes. Often painting ordinary citizens, rural settings, and folkloric themes, he offered a counterpoint to the modernist movements of his time, celebrating Spain's historical and cultural refinement. His ability to convey the psychological depth of his subjects and his striking use of light and shadow made his work resonate with audiences both in Spain and abroad. While modernism gained prominence during his era, Zuloaga's dedication to traditional forms positioned him as a bridge between the past and the evolving present, leaving an enduring legacy in Spanish art. As a youth, Ignacio worked in his father's workshop, his fingers learning the weight of metal and the precision of a craftsman's touch. Plácido dreamed his son would pursue a practical career, perhaps as an engineer or an architect. But Ignacio's imagination yearned for more than the confines of Eibar. One summer, during a trip to Rome, his father showed him the works of the great Renaissance masters. Standing beneath the vaulted ceilings of ancient cathedrals, Ignacio felt his soul stir. He returned to Eibar, no longer a boy, but a young man determined to paint and make good on his abilities. Defying his father's wishes, Ignacio set out for Paris at 18. Montmartre, the bohemian heart of the city, became his home. Here, in a tiny apartment with peeling plaster walls, he sketched by candlelight, his meals often no more than a crust of bread. He survived on the kindness of fellow expatriates, Paco Durio, Santiago Rusiñol, and others who shared his love for art. Paris was a crucible of inspiration, and Ignacio found himself among the likes of Toulouse-Lautrec and Degas. Yet while he admired their daring, his heart remained rooted in Spain. His first painting was accepted into the Paris Salons in 1890. It was a small victory, but it gave him the courage to press on. After 5 years in Paris, Ignacio sought his fortune in London. However, the foggy streets and reserved patrons left him longing for the vibrant colours and warm light of home. Though Paris opened his eyes to the new movements occurring in artistic circles, Ignacio's heart remained tethered to Spain, so after those years of toil in the French capital and a fruitless attempt to establish himself in London, he returned to his homeland, where Seville embraced him first, then Segovia, and he began to find his voice. He painted the people of Spain, their joys and sorrows etched into their faces, their lives coloured by the rich tapestry of tradition. Flamenco dancers in swirling skirts, bullfighters poised with bravado, and beggars with sun-weathered skin came to life on his canvases. One of his most striking works, El Cristo de la Sangre, Christ of the Blood, shocked audiences with its unflinching portrayal of penance and faith. It was a Spain many wished to forget, a Spain that bled and suffered but remained unyielding. Critics labelled it dark, but Zuloaga saw it as truth, and for him it was style, a personal expression that he pioneered for himself. It was new and different. By 1900, Zuloaga was a man of both controversy and acclaim. His Before the Bullfight was rejected for the Universal Exposition in Brussels, a slight he would not soon forget. Yet, with every setback, his resolve only strengthened. He roamed the countryside, sketch-pad in hand, immersing himself in the lives of smugglers, muleteers, and fanatics. He sought not just to paint, but to comprehend. He was forging his new path with a full embrace, and in the lavish fiestas of Aragon he found vibrancy. In the desolate mountains of Salamanca he discovered quiet dignity. Each figure he painted told a story. A dwarf standing resolutely in a barren field, a matador preparing for the ring, a group of villagers marching through the dust in a sacred procession. His palette was muted, moody and moving, with blacks and greys, yet it burst into life with the reds of a dancer's shawl or the golden glow of a Spanish sunset. Whistler was no doubt another who championed the limited palette. We have the following commentary from John Singer Sargent about Zuloaga in a preview of Zuloaga's works. An exhibition of the works of Ignacio Zuloaga is an event to be proclaimed as one of supreme artistic interest. With Spanish courtesy, it is to this American painter that he confides the honor of announcing him to the American public. Little more than a word of welcome to this great artist is needful when one is sure that his genius will receive in this country the recognition that it has conquered in the Old World. The strangeness and power of Señor Zuloaga's evocations might lead one to consider him as a personality quite unique and unrelated to any past tradition, as a creator of types, and of a setting for them charged with an intensity of life strained to a pitch not reached before. But it is in this very excess of romanticism that his link with one of the two main tendencies of the Spanish school can be recognized. Realism, in which it is always steeped, is of course the dominant note of this school, but it has periodically thrown off into the realms of the imaginative some such surprising offshoot as El Greco, the mystic, and as the magician Goya. In their hands this persistent invading realism attacks what is most transcendental or most fantastic, and gives it a dense material existence. His material belongs to reality and is of the earth, earthy. But, as if whirled to another planet, it seems to acknowledge the grip of new laws, and to acquire a keener life from new relationships imposed by this great artist's imperious will. Zuloaga's actual professional debut occurred during the season of 1890–91 under the progressive aegis of Le Bar de Bouteville in the Rue Le Pelletier. His fellow exhibitors on this occasion numbered such men as Gauguin, Van Gogh, Signac, Toulouse-Lautrec, Vuillard, and Émile Bernard. Zuloaga's contribution was a view of the outer boulevards and the portrait of a beggar, both executed in a subdued tonality in strong contrast, but in point of fact he had not thus far found himself. He was still experimenting, and although he admired Monet and Degas and paid tribute to the poignant Carrière and muralist Pierre Puvis de Chavannes, he needed to look inward rather than outward, to rediscover for himself his own aesthetic legacy. Zuloaga had 3 different studios at Segovia, the first, situated in the San Millán quarter, being known as the Casa del Crimen, on account of its having been the scene of numerous violent and brutal episodes. It was here that he painted larger canvases, the grim location costing him but 15 pesetas a month. On account of that, he had difficulty in persuading models to trust themselves within these unsavoury precincts. He next moved to La Canongia Vieja, a frowning fortress-like structure wherein were enacted divers sinister dramas of the Inquisition. He moved into his latter quarters in the abandoned Romanesque church of San Juan de los Caballeros. Friends of Zuloaga visited him during the summer months in Segovia, as they recall, where he sleeps and takes his meals at a modest casa in the Plazuela de San Justo, and works daily in a lofty studio walled off from the rest of the church and lit from a window cut into the solid masonry for a depth of some 5 feet. The room is notable for its restrained simplicity, a rush matting covering the stone floor, a chair or two over the backs of which are flung bullfighter or gypsy costumes, an ornamental harness suspended from a peg in the wall, and 2 carved statuettes of Christ being all the accessories that greet the eye. It is here for some months each season, usually from July until December, that Zuloaga passes his most productive period. He has, it is true, lately built himself a summer home at Zumaya, near the coast, between San Sebastian and Eibar, but it is certain that he will never forego the eloquent pictorial appeal of his beloved Segovia. Success came finally, and at Düsseldorf in 1904 he met with the distinction accorded only Adolphe Menzel Auguste Rodin, and himself of having a separate room allotted to his work, while those in charge of the Barcelona International Exposition of 1907 followed this lead in displaying 34 of his canvases in still more imposing fashion. It is in this connection his appearance at the Hispanic Society in New York, 2 years later, on which occasion he was represented by 38 assorted works, noted as a few of the finest products of his brush. And not only in North America, but South America also paid tribute to the merit and reputation of the exponent painter of Spanish life and character. Significant as were these events, the climax of Zuloaga's career was the recognition accorded him at the International Exposition of Rome in 1911. Specially installed in separate quarters in the Belle Arti were 26 canvases that proved the sensation of the exhibition and won for him the Grand Prix. An awareness of the objective aspects of Zuloaga's achievement is for an intelligent understanding of his contribution to Spanish painting. Behind the man and his work loom certain general ideas, and it is these same ideas, elusive as they may seem, that cast a new light and a personal vision. The art of Zuloaga displays an unquestioned affinity with the legacy of that princely master Diego Rodriguez de Silva y Velasquez. His tenacity and devotion to carve out a place in art history succeeded, and we are the better for his contributions. And finally, we hope you enjoyed this look into the work of Ignacio Zuloaga. His legacy is firmly established. So with that, please remember to add a like and subscribe to help the channel as we look to bring you many more great talents in the future. And if you would like to contribute, there is a PayPal link below for any amount. Until next time, it's bye for now.